Bonjour, y'all. Welcome to Wellness for Everybody. I'm Amanda. Today, I'm going to go over some exercises with you that are for people that are wheelchair bound, have some mobility issues, things like that. Maybe this one isn't specifically for you, but maybe you have a parent, a grandparent, someone in your family, or maybe you're just a caretaker of someone that you know that is in this situation. So these exercises are to help someone that is in a wheelchair, mobility issues, just learn to do some exercises. Back in 2019, my father-in-law had a stroke. When COVID hit, we had to bring him home from assisted living, and we had to learn how to do some of these just to make sure he was mobile and keeping active. So the first thing you want to do is, if you're doing anything in a wheelchair, or if you're helping someone in a wheelchair, make sure the wheels are locked. We don't want you standing up, or if that person's standing up, the wheelchair move, and then they become more injured because the wheelchair moved out from under them. The wheels are always locked during any of these. The first one we're going to do is a simple sit to stand. I've done these in other videos to help with squats that maybe someone isn't capable of doing all the way by themselves. So we're just going to move up towards the edge of the seat a little bit more, pushing through the legs, feet flat on the floor. We're just going to push through and stand. Push through and stand. Now, if you or the person you're working with is not quite strong enough to do this without assistance, they can use their hands and help push up. Or if you're helping someone, you can actually stand in front of them holding their hands, just giving that extra little support to push up. All right, simple enough with that first one. The next one we're going to do is tricep dips in the chair. So hands go on the handrails, and using your arms, pushing through, just going to lift your bottom off of the seat. Just like that. Now, if you have an issue where you're not quite strong enough to go just the arms, you can use your feet just a little bit just to give you that extra stability. Most of the work needs to be in the arms though. Again, pushing up, using your arms to allow yourself to go back down. Typically with any of these exercises we're doing, you want to do about 10 reps, wait a few minutes, and do them again for a total of 3 sets. That's a typical thing. If you're just getting into it, you may do less. Just make sure whatever you're doing, you're not overexerting yourself and you're not injuring yourself in the process. Give me just a moment with the next one so I can set up, and I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. The next one we're going to do is we're going to work the hip flexors. So when we're sitting all the time in a chair because we have some disabilities or some mobility issues, we want to make sure that we're able to move everything and not get so tight that we're hurting all the time, or that we get to the point where we can't do anything else because our muscles have tightened up so much. All right, so working our hip flexors, feet are flat on the floor, knees are at 90 degrees, and we're simply going to pick that knee up so our foot is just a few inches off the ground. All the work is coming through the hip flexors. Lift, down, lift, down. Okay? If you don't have enough strength to do this with just the hip flexors working, put your hand around the bottom of your thigh and just offer a little bit of assistance with that. Doesn't have to be a lot, just enough to where you're able to get your foot off the floor. All right? Give me just a moment to set up for the next one, and I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. So again, I have moved the wheelchair. I've locked the wheels. We want to always make sure we're locking these wheels if we're moving to do anything and move into the next exercise. As you see, I have a seat over here in front of me. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a simple stand and walk. This can be useful for you helping someone, or the person that's in the chair to be able to get out of the chair and sit on a chair at the dining room table, the couch, whatever the case may be. This is going to be the exercises that are going to be able to help them progress and do that a little bit easier. So just like we did at the beginning with the sit to stand, we want to make sure our bottoms are closer to the edge of the chair and we're able to have our feet flat on the floor. And just like with the sit to stand, we're going to push through the feet, come to a standing position. Use your arms if you need to, using the hands, pushing through. Okay, once we've stood, we're going to walk to our next location. Very carefully, if you have something to hold on to, you can use the wall or someone to help you holding their hand. We're going to walk to our location. Okay, now we're going to turn to sit. When we turn to sit, we don't want to cross one foot over the other. So we're going to take, in this case, I'm turning to my left, so my left foot is going to turn out. Okay, so now we're facing this way. The next one is going to turn. Then we're going to turn the left one again. Right one follows, and now we're going to find our seat. Okay, if you need to use your hands to make sure you sit down safely, please do that. If you're strong enough to hold yourself, that's great, but make sure that if you're sitting in a chair that can slide, there's nothing behind you, make sure that you're sitting down safely and don't let that chair slide out from under you. Okay, so moving back to the wheelchair, same thing. I'm going to either use my hands for assistance or push through my legs, come to a standing position. We're going to walk to the next location using something for stability if you need to. We're going to turn, so I'm turning right, right foot is going to point towards you. My left foot's going to turn, right foot's going to turn again, followed by the left, and find your seat safely. Okay, one more time, I'm going to get this camera focused on my feet just so you can see the way that we're turning, okay? Give me just a second to set up for that. All right, so I'm back and I'm going to show you real quick the foot movement. So I'm going to turn to the right. Right foot is going to turn 90 degrees. Left foot follows. Again, we're going to face the wall now. So right foot turning 90 degrees. Left foot follows. Right foot turns 90 degrees. Left foot follows. And then one more time. Right foot followed by the left. The reason we do this is if you cross your foot, now you've lost some of that stability. Our body likes to be squared up. So if you do this, you've lost your stability and can easily trip yourself. So give me just a moment and I'll be right back with the next one. Okay, so we're back. I've got my mat on the floor. As you see, I'm sitting on the floor. We're gonna do reverse crunches. So it's easier to do a reverse crunch for someone that has a mobility or disability issue than it is to do full sit-ups or crunches. So in this case, I'm starting in a seated position. Knees are bent, pointing towards the ceiling. Feet are flat on the floor. So in this case, I'm going to gently lower myself back, controlling the motion. When you get to the bottom, you're laying on the floor, I don't want you to pull yourself back up, okay? I want you to use your hands and momentum to get yourself back up. If you can't do that, it is acceptable in this case to roll over to your side and push yourself back up. The focus of this is not the upward motion, it's the downward motion. We're doing slow, controlled descent to the ground. Knees are pointed up, slow, controlled, still working your abs, and then getting yourself back up through momentum or rolling to the side. Slow, controlled, momentum or rolling. Okay? That's your reverse crunch. Give me just a second, I'll be right back with the next. Okay, we're back. Like I mentioned earlier, when we are wheelchair bound or have mobility issues, we want to make sure that we are doing everything that we can to maintain some sort of motion in our bodies, just to prevent everything from getting stiff and then you kind of shrink in on yourselves and everything becomes tight. And the more that you become tight, the less likely you are to be able to have mobility in the future. All right, so like in everything else, I want you to scoot your bottom towards the edge of the chair. All right, this is gonna be your back extensions. This is gonna work on your lower back. Typically, if you are not in a wheelchair, you would be laid on a mat and your hands are behind your head and you lift your chest off the floor. Okay, so this is the same thing, but we're sitting in a chair. So you're going to hinge at the hips so the chest comes towards the knees. And you can put your hands behind your head if you'd like and lift. Inhale as you come up and exhale as you go down. This is working your back. Now, if you're not able to do that yet, you can use your hands for some gentle assistance. So as you're here, you can push up gently off your knees. Still focusing on that back. That needs to be your major concern when you're doing this, is trying to activate those muscles. Okay, so that's your back extension. Give me just a second and I'll get right back with you with the reverse fly. Okay, so we're back. Still seated in the chair, we now have a resistance band. Okay, I use these a lot. These are great for many different things. They're great for modifying exercises. They're great for people who aren't capable yet of using weights in their workout routines, and it gives you a lot of strength building at the same time. Okay, so with the last one we did, we worked our lower backs. Now we're going to work our upper backs. So you got your resistance bands, and you can get these from Walmart, Academy, Target, Amazon, wherever. They come in different strengths. Some have handles. There's great uses for them. All right, so in this case, we don't want our hands to be like this because then you don't have enough room to move. So we want to, I'd say probably about shoulder width apart. Okay, so we're going to inhale, we're going to stretch. When you do this, focus on bringing your shoulder blades together. Exhale as you come back towards each other. Now, if that's still a little bit too hard for you, you can take your hands a little bit wider and do the same thing. Just focus on pulling those shoulder blades together. Straps should come towards your chest. Okay, so we've worked your lower and your upper back in those last two exercises. Give me just a second, I'll be right back. Okay, so we're back. Again, just to reiterate, your wheels are always locked on your wheelchair. We don't want it sliding out from under you as you do any of this, okay? So we're doing a seated shoulder press. This doesn't have to be done in your wheelchair. It can be done on a bench, kitchen chair, wherever. Just make sure you have the ability to keep your feet flat on the floor and sit up nice and tall. Okay, so I've got a weight. I'm gonna take this weight up. My elbow is at a 90 degrees, arm is pointed up towards the ceiling. Okay, so the shoulder press, I'm simply going to press up so my arm is straightened. We're never locking the elbow out. We want a gentle bend, a very slight bend in the elbow, and then coming back down to 90 degrees. Just like that. And then you can do the other side as well. Or if you've got two weights, feel free to do them both at the same time. Just remember, as you do both, it becomes a little bit more difficult to concentrate on keeping your form. Now, if you don't have a weight, or if a weight might be too much for you yet, take a water bottle. Take a can, same motion, 90 degrees, pushing up towards the sky. Don't lock your elbow. If that's too much, you have the option of resistance bands or even body weight at this time, just to make sure that you have the motion in your joints. When you keep motion through your joints, you produce the synovial fluid, and that's like the oil in your car. We want to make sure, we take care of our cars by getting oil changes and everything. That's how we take care of our bodies, is by the motion. All right. So give me just a moment. I'll be right back with the next one. All right, so we're back. Got this one and one more to show you. This one, we're seated in a chair. Wheels are always locked. I've got my resistance band again. Again, just like I mentioned earlier, several different places to get them from, several different strengths of your resistance. So what you get depends on your abilities. There's some packs where you can get the light, the medium, and the heavy. That way you can build up. Any of that's fine, as long as you've got some sort of resistance. And also, the closer you move your hand towards the motion, the more strength it puts on it too. All right, so we have the band wrapped around one of our feet. You're gonna hold the band in one hand, and see I've got some resistance on it. There's not a whole lot of play in it. So we're gonna keep the resistance fairly tight, and we're just gonna take our foot, lift it slightly off the floor, and straighten the leg down to the bend again. Straighten the leg. All right, so this is where you can play with the resistance. You want to feel a little bit of resistance where it's a little bit of work for you to do this. Okay. And then switch legs and do the same thing. Again, all of these exercises, you're looking at about 10 repetitions of the exercise. In this case, it would be on each. Take a break and do it 3 times total, okay? So again, we've got the resistance, picking up the foot slightly and pushing out to straight. Don't lock your knees. We don't want to lock the knees. We just want to straighten out some. Gentle bend, very slight bend in the knee. If you lock the knee, that can cause further injury. We're not looking for further injury. We're looking to get healthier and be safe in everything we're doing. Okay. If using a resistance band is too much for you, maybe you're still in physical therapy and they haven't moved you up to any weight, you can certainly do this just to keep the mobility in the knee. You can certainly just do the extension without any resistance to it. All right, give me just a second to set up for the last one. I'll be right back with you. Okay, so we're back. This one is for if you were sitting on the floor doing floor exercises, or if for some reason you have fallen on the floor, which we hope never happens, but we're humans. Some of us are clumsy, I'm one of them. We want to make sure we have a way of safely getting up from the floor, okay? Typically in this case, we've got a chair, a couch, something next to us, okay? We're kneeling, we've made ourselves to our knees, okay? We're gonna stand up on our knees, place our hands on the couch, chair, whatever we have available in front of us, okay? We're going to take one knee through, putting our foot flat on the floor. Using our hands and our arms, we're going to put some pressure here in order to pull ourselves up and bring the other leg forward until we can come up to a standing position. Okay, we want to do this as safely as possible, so make sure that you have a chair that's not going to slide. Mine's not going to slide because it's on the mat's not letting it slide. If you got a kitchen chair, it may do that. So in that case, if you're not able to get up without the chair, try and slide it to the wall first and then stand up. If you have great stability without the chair, that's fine. We can do that too. One leg goes through, using our legs to push through. Okay. But erring on the side of safety, we're going to use caution and use a chair. So again, we're on our knees, hands are on the chair or bench. One knee comes through, so your foot's on the floor, pushing through the hands. We're pulling the other one through, and we're standing. And at this point, now if we want to sit, here's where we make our turn again. So left foot turns, right foot follows, left foot turns, right foot follows, and now we safely find our way to a seated position. All right. So I've shown you some exercises today that are going to help either yourself or someone that you help out with that is in a wheelchair or has mobility issues to safely get some motion and exercise into their bodies. If you have any questions on any of that, any modifications you think would work because you deal with this on a daily basis, or you need other modifications, let me know in the comments. I'll get back with you. So if you've liked what you've seen today, if you've learned anything, make sure you like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time on Wellness for Everybody.